Welcome to the Firespitting with BS01 podcast, where we absolutely roast BIONICLE. I'm Swert, and with me are
Chols,
Dorek,
and Spirit.
Very good. Yes. So today's topic is going to be very interesting. I say interesting, and I really mean to say annoying, because there's just too many of what we're about to talk about.
there might be a foil in there.
There might be. So, one of the classic tropes of storytelling is to have your best ally, somebody who you could truly trust, stab you in the back.
It too, brute.
Indeed. Today we are going to talk about the many traitors, not traitors as in D, but traitors as in T.
Yeah, that's actually an important clarification because we also have traders and then traitors.
Yes, we have one that's both technically.
We
But
do.
we'll get into that in a bit.
Whoa, spoilers.
I mean, yeah, a spoiler for something that happened 16 years ago. Joy.
God, it's been that long.
Oh God, it has been that long.
I don't know, like with quarantine, I feel like quarantining has, given a new kind of life to spoilers because, what else do you have to do besides go back and,
Relive
consume this
life.
pop culture that you never did before? And so, I feel like we can safely say spoiler alert.
Now is a great time to go to biosector01.com and catch up on all the BIONICLE stuff you missed.
Darn right.
Read it.
And if
cover to
you've
cover.
missed any of their content, then by all means, feel free to rewatch it. Maybe twice. I don't care.
Go play the Matanui online game before Flash dies or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
On with that.
Go do that.
Actually, that's going to be preserved under that system that they're doing.
Yeah,
System?
I saw that. Not a
Yes,
system,
yeah.
like there's a project that's dedicated to preserving old Flash games and stuff.
Right.
I'm glad somebody's doing that because there's like a whole lot of stuff to archive, like old web games that are impossible to find now, or just think all of Newgrounds, like some kind of wrapper that makes it safe to use and still enjoy that stuff. That's cool.
Absolutely. All right. So let's go ahead and start at the very, very, very beginning of 2001. Obviously, there weren't that many traders back then. Technically, there were two, one major, one minor. Would you agree with that?
Well, I mean, there's always traders, but it sort of, how are we defining a trader now? I think the focus of what we're trying to do is kind of like where a plot point in the story, right?
Yes.
Well, I think the recurring theme in BIONICLE is that there's always mysteries. You got to figure out what's the mystery, what's going to happen next, speculate, plan ahead, what's happening. And one of the easy things for them to do is to be like, oh yeah, you know all these characters? One of them's a traitor. You're going to find out who in a couple months. Stay tuned. And this happens multiple times.
Mhm.
Yes.
I'll tell you, that worked on me in 2004. I got into that whole bit.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. The one I'm referring to as the major would have been when Liwa had an infected mask.
That wasn't his fault, though.
Yes, but that is still a character turning into a traitor. I'm not saying his intentions are intentional.
Oh, but there's evil and there's being turned evil and there's corruption and things. But that's kind of a different trope of somebody being a traitor. Actually, it's almost the opposite, right? Turned evil or corrupted. That's not out of their own free will.
I suppose, yeah, it's almost like having a brainwashed character versus somebody who does it on their
I
own
know we
free
say
will.
this a lot, but we could probably do it the whole episode about brainwashing and all the various.
Well, that's the
Then
thing.
maybe
Like,
that's what we'll do.
if I had to pick one thing that BIONICLE like overuses, it's mind control. Of what do the bad guys do?
Yes.
They control your mind. Infected Kanohi,
Yes.
control your mind. Krana,
Yes.
Krana,
control your mind.
Krana, create infected Kanohi.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That can control your mind.
Vaki, they control your
Vaki,
mind.
control
Oh
mind.
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
2005, there was one Viscerock that can manipulate you, but not really control your mind.
Well, and then you had
Right.
the Hordika venom that was slowly turning you evil and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but that comes into a different story in a minute. And then 2006, I mean,
Zamor spheres.
Oh, yeah,
Zamor
yeah,
spheres, you're
yeah,
right.
Zamor
Yeah.
spheres, exactly.
And then 2007, we had Takadox that can mind control.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Every
2008,
single year, there's mind control.
Mind control. They used shadow leeches.
Shadow leeches. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
2009 is like the only one that did not have an actual mind control plot point.
Because there are way fewer powers, thank God.
Yeah. 2010 didn't really have anything, though technically Tahu gaining the power of all the Rakshi means he could do mind control now.
Well,
But that's a different story.
that's a
Now we're just getting theoretical.
The thing with that is he doesn't get all the Rockshi powers, and Greg never tells us what he gets.
I was always under the impression he had access to all 42.
No,
got
it was
1,000
only the
ways to
ones
kill
that
you.
and 941 of them hurt.
There it is.
Anyway, let's slip back into the proper top subject then. So 2001. Let's start with the one traitor that we know is a traitor.
Akmu.
I was going to say the unnamed Matoran from Pokoro.
Spoiler alert.
That just happens to be named later, the same as another character.
He doesn't get named in 2001, but he does get named in 2003.
Right.
Yeah, at that point they were signing names to a bunch of people, and they already knew they knew who he was going to be by then.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I do appreciate, like, he's like the only character that made the different media seem like they were connected. Of like, he's very obviously the same character in the first Matsunui Online game, the second Matsunui Online game, and then when he comes out as a set in 2004, like this is very much the same character. Whereas other times they're like, yeah, this is Kopeak. Please ignore the fact that he had a different mask in the other game, and I don't know, friggin' now he looks like this.
He needed a mask repair. It's fine. It's fine.
He just went over to Onokoro and he stole Taraga Winua's mask and put it on.
Yeah, I don't know why they did that. Like, they easily could have not done that.
That was one of the few cases like Akuma is the most consistent character in the whole series. Maybe not the most changing over time, but he could always rely on him to not rely on him.
That's very true.
He served his purpose, and he did that consistently, which is something to be applauded for, I guess.
Absolutely. So his traitorous act was obviously he sold those Comet Coley balls to all of Pokoro, and they just happened to have a secret attached to them.
Dun, dun, dun. Didn't wash his hands for 20 seconds before he washed it.
Did not say Matoran alphabet.
We're all going for the coronavirus joke immediately. Welcome to quarantine.
We're
week
relevant.
5.
No, but so I mean, I guess I'm trying to remember how big a deal it was that he was a traitor at the time. Because I mean, obviously, bad things were happening, but I don't remember him sort of receiving any punishment. Like, it was kind of obvious that he was the bad guy, but then nothing happens with that.
Well, if I recall, he basically boarded up his shop and ran, and I assume he had run back to Makuta's lair because, well, they were still very much buddy. It's not until the Borok attacking where I'm pretty sure Taraga Onowa kind of looked at him and said, fine, I'll keep you around because I can keep an eye on you. Just don't do anything stupid.
Well, this is a lot of retconning because, originally the plan was for there to be this cult of Matoran that worshipped Makuta, and it would be this whole thing, which is kind of where they got the idea for Makuta to appear as a little Matoran in the final battle of the Matsunui Online game. But then they kind of abandoned that plotline, and then they've got this evil character with no explanation. In my headcanon, when he leaves a sign that says "Gone fishing," which is oh yeah, I'm away from my store, a very standard thing. But it talks about how the Coley balls were just thrown into the ocean. So what if he just went fishing for them?
Fishing for rocks.
I completely forgot about that.
Literally fishing for rocks. That's funny.
Oh, that's funny.
Well, I mean, he could have used the Coley staffs. I mean, no one ever explains why they're called fishing nets, despite the fact they are obviously not fishing nets. So,
dude, he reinvented the sport. They were like, "What are you doing?" He's like, the new sport." He's like, "Cool."
This is how Makuta knew how to play Coley.
Oh my gosh!
We've cracked it wide open, ladies and gentlemen.
We have the solution now.
All these years later, Mask of Light finally made sense. Spirit, we love you.
Thank you. I love me too.
Aww.
So I guess, he's the only official traitor from that year. Moving forward to 2002, we didn't have any traitors other than the entirety of Lee Koro being infected by Krana, which, I mean, again, brainwash versus actual intent. 2003, didn't really have any traitors there either, other than Tahu going nutso in Mask of Light, which, again, infected, not the same.
So I never
Moving
really
forward.
got that far into Motonui Online Game 2 because, notorious glitches and all that. So what was Akmo doing in the sequel? What was
Just
he
hanging
doing?
out. Like he runs the store, so he's like a
Yeah,
regular.
he is the store, basically.
You go to
Okay.
the store in Pokoro. He's there selling you Coley balls. I think there was like a way that you could scam the system of like you buy Coley balls
Yes.
and
You buy
sell them
Coley
to-
balls in Pokoro, and I think you sell them in Onukoro?
I don't know. Some great capitalist.
That was a quick,
scam.
yeah. Unless you're like me, who didn't make enough money to buy a Coley stick in the first place, and then you kind of have to sit there and grind for 40 weeks trying to figure out how to make that up from flax.
Basically, he just
Remember-
turned you into his mule to smuggle the Coley balls out on the car.
I remember being so proud of myself once I made the rigging item, which like is so much crafting and trading, and then I did it, and it just wasn't worth it. And then there was like a reset, and I lost all my widgets, and I'm like, even at the tender age of like 13, I'm like, I've wasted my life.
Right.
That was where it glitched out on me. Like I seem to recall I successfully made the rigging and then they like patched something and then it just all went away or something. And then I was like, nah, forget it.
Yeah. Let's be honest here. Bionicle has always been ahead of its time. It created the first instance of, in the mass packs, you had loot boxes. I'm
Yep.
not wrong. Manually Online Game 2, first instance of grinding.
I'm sure there have been plenty of RPGs that did
Nah,
that. before.
Probably plenty of RPGs
For a
Yes,
flash
but-
game, though.
for a Flash game.
Introduced to a whole new, younger audience that wasn't quite at the age of like, what was it back then? EverQuest.
Point
Holy
and click.
crap.
Point and click. Plus grinding.
Oh my gosh. So I think we can all agree that for 2003, the real traitor was Matsunumi Online Game 2.
Oh, yeah.
Betrayed us.
Yeah.
It
They
all
didn't even
betrayed.
finish it in the
They-
year it
I
came out.
Yeah, that's true. They did release an ending, not a satisfying one, but they did release an ending at some point.
I never got there. It was so broken.
Nobody got
I
past
did not get
Takoro.
there.
I did. You had to. Well, the hard thing to get past was Leikoro because you couldn't climb the vines to get to the thing, and it was very difficult to beat the Leikoro team. But once you could, if you did the tab trick to trick it into letting you to get the charms or whatever, then you could get out. Then you could beat the game. And yeah, it's got some good animations there in the end. I'm really sad that they never patched it,
Yeah.
but it was too late by then.
It's too late.
I will say, one of the other sites out there that assist us from time to time, that would be the Biomedia Project. They actually managed to patch the first Manually Online game with a specific little code in there that actually makes it so the Leikoro battle, where you're flying through on the Gakko. Yeah. They actually managed to patch it so that it runs at 12 frames per second, which is what it was supposed to be at the first time.
Nice.
Otherwise, more modern computers trying to run it would literally not be able to keep up with it.
Just go into hyperspeed.
Yes. Now it runs properly and you can actually defeat the game properly.
They do good work. I like those guys.
Yeah, they're pretty good. I would very much like it for them to also patch Online Game 2 if they haven't already. Then again, Flash is dying in the next year, so
It's too late. So
Flash has already been dead for the last 5 years, let's not lie.
this is also true.
So then we move on to 2004.
Guess
Yes.
who's back?
Well, but I mean, this is the first like kind of real example of where you're told there's a traitor. I mean, Motonui Online Game, you sort of are kind of piecing it together. You're like, oh, hey, hang on, there's something not right
It's
here.
like, oh, it's this jerk.
But
It
2004
literally,
is the first
clicking
instance-
on... Yeah, I was about to say, you click on the ball, it zooms up, it shows a little infection. It's like, oh, look, this is Blue's Clues before Blue's Clues was a thing.
Right. But in 2005, the story material specifically start off with saying, Six Matorn, but there's a traitor.
Yeah, I kind of like that they were making it a thing because that got me interested as a kid. I was like, ooh, I wonder who it is. But then I noticed one of them looked very similar to the game, and I was like, oh, it's him, and I was right.
So, I mean, I guess, like, I kind of had the benefit of that. Like, I didn't get that far into the Motonui Online game. And obviously, like, I wouldn't have remembered any of these named characters from the first one. So, being able to kind of experience that fresh, like, I didn't have much of an attachment to these characters or know what they were about. So, that worked for me.
That's good. Now, what I wanted to go over real fast is on their profiles, let's because I know one of the discussions we had prior when we were recording was we wanted to see, could it have been any of the other 5 Matoran?
See, I had a theory that the clues were embedded in Matanui Online Game 2, because a lot of these characters, but not all of these characters, you can encounter them as NPCs. So
This is true, with
like
slightly different names.
right, but it's very obvious that it's meant to be that character. But there's 2 that don't appear, and I was convinced that it was one of them that was the traitor. That all this Akamu stuff was just smoke and mirrors trying to fool us. But
He
What
survived.
are the ones that don't appear? The Gamatoran Visola, I don't think she was in there.
correct,
It's Vizsla, and I think the
Who's
other one is Eerie.
one?
Aerie is how
Aerie.
Oh, God.
apparently.
I can never spell that. If you put a gun to my head and told me to spell that one right on the first try, I would die.
Rip.
He
Right.
probably has one of
right.
the worst names of all the characters. Aerie.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like his
Aerie,
his
that is
whole
the
name is
pronunciation.
vowels, except for like the R.
It's true. Well, in the H, but
Yeah.
Sometimes why?
EHRYE. Aerie.
like, why? Why? Like, just pick any other nonsense word. Like, I get they don't want to be sued, but like, how about something that people can pronounce?
You could have literally just named them blah blah, and it would have been a lot easier to say.
I actually kind of like Erie. Like it's nice to have something that's hard to pronounce to an English language because it just makes it sound different enough that it's like a different world. So I don't know.
Well, and we're already faced into a world where the 2 other Toa of this year were Onawa and Wenoa. Not to be confused with Onua.
Oh no, wait, no.
But so going back to the kind of the product descriptions and the story jumping off point for the Matoran. So like, each of their little biographies said, reason they might be a traitor. Is there ever anything aside from our past history with Akmu that made him more obvious of a suspect?
No.
I think they kind of wanted to give him a characterization of like always being like second best and like trying to be the overachiever, but it was I'm gonna say it wrong.
Ones had that same.
All of them had
complex
that
as
exact.
well.
Yeah.
Ah,
Everybody had
why
that
do
It's
they-
an interesting parallel to Makuta.
Dun, dun, dun.
we see what they saw in each other. Betrayal. I actually kind of thought it would have been Vizola too. I don't remember quite why. Maybe she was kind of just portrayed to be a bit of a jerk.
Sexism? Oh wait, no, sorry, that's our next podcast.
I'm not being sexist. I'm just I will fairly call anyone a jerk.
You're a jerk. You're a jerk. Everybody's a jerk.
Exactly.
It is worth noting. So, going down a bit of a list here. So, Eerie was an ambitious Comatorn. Didn't really say much about what he did. Trying to remember how they described him properly, other than just his biography. We do know he was an
aspired to be a
errand runner.
scholar.
Yeah,
He
was
aspired to be a
right?
scholar.
Or he wanted to be a scholar. All right,
Frickin'
right.
nerd.
And apparently, Nuju denied him that promotion. Oh, well, that would have been a reason to
Denied.
do it. I mean, they all had, if I recall, all of them had good reason to betray the Toa. All of them. The only one
See-
that didn't really have a reason was probably, what, Nuri?
Well, no, because he was like a jealous.
when Wakama-
Nuri was.
Yeah, but when Wakama turned into a Toa, hey, all of a sudden a new opening for a carver came up. Bam, we're good for a mask maker. I mean, all of a sudden, bam, I got a new role. I can take it over.
I guess
He's
I don't know.
been
I always I suspected Nuri simply because like there was so much focus on the crafting of masks and how Kanoka discs become masks and everything. Got to find the great disc to make the mask of time. That's why I thought it was going to be him.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like this big thing. So I remember when I got the Mask of Light DVD, and there's like the preview for 2004, where it's like, oh, who made the masks? And I'm like, I didn't even consider that. Oh my gosh, who's this guy?
Yeah, I saw that image and immediately I'm like, wow, they slapped a cow and a mirror together, and that's a mask. Okay.
Yep, done.
Did anybody else see that when they first saw Vakama's mask in that image?
I couldn't even tell what I was looking at.
That's fair.
It's some old CGI back there.
That's
But
true.
I feel like at that time it had already been leaked somehow what the sets were. I don't know. I didn't have access to that information, but everyone's like, it's Vakama. And I'm like, it's not, though. Look at him. Doesn't look anything like him.
It doesn't look anything like him. I mean, it doesn't matter. We can change masks. Nuri was Vakama's mentor. So he really did not have a good reason.
Well, I mean, arguably, none of these reasons are good. Like, like, why would you betray the lives of everyone just for like a promotion at work? Like, that's.
Well, that would have been Erie's. Yeah.
Well,
obviously,
like, Vizzola, she's a student. She wants to like become a teacher.
Vizzola was a little. I think the term we could use these days might have been a little possessive. In fact, it does say she was very possessive of her teacher.
There you go. Because
Vizzola was a student of Nokama. She absolutely hated Nokama's other friends. Well, that is a red flag right there. I'm sorry. Because all of a sudden, Nokama has 5 new friends, and they're all from out of town.
All dudes.
Oh.
Yeah, see, where's the Vizzola Nokama fan? You got all
it's out there. Don't even go there.
Let's not encourage anyone. Let's not. But I think like the way they did that in 2004, even though you can look at it as set promotion or just some hook, but if you're gonna have like anyone be a traitor, it's good to have almost anyone be an option. Like, go the clue method. It could be anyone.
Yeah, no. I liked the starting of it. It's just, I don't know. It didn't also end all that great, right? Like, because it had to end in the first half because they don't even touch on it in the movie.
Everything in the first half of 2004 kind of just got brushed aside. Remember the vines? Yeah. Remember that? That happened.
Remember them?
They are in the movie for a good 5 seconds. Don't forget that.
Yeah, and during Vakama scene, that's it. And he's still being defeated by them at that point. That's the funniest
around
part.
By a big Whomping Willow.
Like, couldn't you at least have him fight the king root, not some small little vine that he's literally twisted up in?
Wouldn't be canon. Just saying.
It would be canon, but still.
Was it not the king root that they show him facing off against in the
No,
movie?
he's like tied up upside down. Like it looks like
he's upside down, but then it like zooms out, and then I thought he was in the
right.
Maybe I'm misremembering. I don't know. It's been a long time.
It's fine. Let's also go over quickly. I mean, this was the biggest clue right here of who it could have been when they showed off how each of the Matoran were trapped. Like, can we all agree Orcam had probably the worst punishment out of all of them?
I don't remember that. You're going to have to remind me.
Actually, never mind. No, he was. We thought he was snared in a tangle of transport cables. For some reason, I thought he was stuck in the force sphere. I forgot that. No, he was just in the tangle.
Getting shot around in the chutes.
I'm getting so much in my mind right now.
It's all coming back.
At the very end of the day, like, okay, so we finally figure out who the traitor is in this case, and it's Akmu, and then he gets away again, which I mean we knew he had to because this is a flashback, but
I mean, yes, we eventually catch up back with him later when Makuta Pterodax grabs his pod after they've lost it. Spoiler: they rescue all the Matoran, but they left one behind on accident. And Makuta just wakes it up and says, "Brave little Matoran, I have a job for you. First, let me tell you about the tale of how I was betrayed." What?
You ever heard the tale of Darth Pelagius the Wise?
It's a tale that Tolo would never tell you.
Oh,
well, but then also the problem I have with after you find out he's the traitor, still somehow they're able to form a Matoran Nui, even though that's not relevant to the story at all.
Oh no, they did that deliberately to say we can do that.
Yeah, but you don't have like the set of it because they've decided to, instead of doing Kaida and stuff, they started doing Rahi out of the different set combinations.
Which were way cooler, by the way.
Yeah, no, great. I love that. But just like, why?
It helps to promote creativity, though I will say the bodies of 2004 Matoran were not really conducive to make them Matoran Nui. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, I think I tried. I think I tried that, and it just hurt. I was like, well, these are just big plastic triangles.
If anything, yeah, the Rahi that they made with them was probably their best efforts, and I kind of applaud them for it. There's more creativity based on those than I could ever pull out of those things.
Wouldn't that have been like the second or third book that Greg wrote?
I think it would have been about the third book, because he wrote Tales of the Past.
Where did they become a Matoran?
He took over the writing in 2004, and they've become the Matoran Nui.
I think in the second book.
Trial by
officially.
Fire. Okay, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
Trial
So
by
it's
Fire.
third book.
Yeah, that was Greg.
Oh,
No,
third book.
third book is
third book is the one with Kraka.
Well, yeah.
No. His third book. So he
Okay,
wrote
his
okay,
third
yes.
book.
His third book, the second book of 2004.
But I mean,
Let's
he had been
clarify.
writing a lot of the story materials before that. So, but yes,
Right.
Yeah. Well, I feel like at that point of the story, like he's trying to get things to connect to each other. So, I mean, that's why he kind of like pulls the Vahi into the Borak Kal story of it's not really related, but it's like, hey, this thing we never touched on, now it exists in the story. Now it's got a purpose for existing. Same thing with the Matoran Nui of like, well, it's in a little McDonald's comic. If perhaps you didn't read the McDonald's comic, maybe you want a little more out of this. So, now this concept can reappear in the story. It would be my guess. I don't know.
Just pulling together different ideas and kind of integrating them in places. Yeah, it was silly, but whatever. It's there. It happened.
By the way, to wrap up one last thing about Akmu, I know we talked about this a while ago where they considered turning Akmu into a Toa of Shadow.
They should have done it.
And they should have done it.
I would have been so down for that.
I didn't get any sets in 2008. I might have gotten a Toa Akmu.
I think a Toa of Shadow would have been a better set than the Makuta, honestly.
Well, yeah, there's so many Makuta. Like, that's just nonsense. And then, like, Takanuva shows up. Didn't need to be there. Mazika,
Agreed.
Voltraz, stop that. Just stop it. And then the giant vehicles. No one can afford that.
What if they pulled like two other characters that have amongst Matoran that were kind of like on the offbeat or otherwise not really available, and also made them into shadow stuff so that they could have like sets of 3? That'd be cool. But now we're getting hypothetical.
We're definitely getting hypothetical, but let's step into, I think 2005 is where we really wanted to be. So,
Oh yes.
obviously, this is a continuation from 2004. We have the Toa Metru. They come back. They have checkpoint confidence. They've got this all down. They're ready to go. And the Viscerock happened.
Oh boy, do they. There's spiders everywhere.
Oh, yeah. Literally, when we say as a joke, or at least some people say as a joke, I don't know if you guys do, burn it all down. It's too hard. It's too much. Whenever there's like 2 spiders in a house. Yeah.
2 spiders. How are you
Burn
still
stuff.
alive?
Look, it takes a lot of willpower to stay in this house. That, and I do not want to burn my Bionicle.
2 spiders is 3 spiders too many.
Yes. They all can live outside. I don't mind them. They get
Nope.
in here, we've got problems.
Outside spiders are bros.
Thanks, Spider Bros. Keep us safe from mosquitoes during hurricane season.
Okay, but yeah, that was one of the other mysteries in 2005 is, one of the Toa is going to be a traitor. Who is it going to be?
But that's the thing. What was that a mystery? Like, obviously 2004 you get told, okay, one of these Matoran is going to betray the others. With 2005, like, it was kind of, I guess, a lingering idea, right? It's like you could turn evil, but was it ever a foregone conclusion?
So I think it was always hinted in promotion.
Yeah, it's teased somewhere.
Yeah, there was kind of a bit of tease of it, but also that was all into the like, oh, they're part Rahi and they might become beasts. Who knows or whatever. So
Yeah,
Right, and
the
so
book's
that's
always
another
made
thing.
that
Like,
clear.
but how does becoming an animal equal becoming evil? I guess is the part that I did not get as a
I don't
child
think-
and still do not.
I don't
today.
think it was so much as them becoming evil is what they were implying. I think it was just you let your animalistic side get a hold of you. You stop being. You stop thinking. You stop being. You just become much like the beasts around you.
obligatory is this Beastars.
Yeah, I feel like they could have leaned more into the animal thing. Getting started, it sounded like they were going like all animal that year, which we're like, okay, let's try this out.
I like
Because
the
all
idea.
all the Rahaga have like a different type of animal they specialize in, and I'm like, oh, so does this mean that the Toa Hordika are going to be versions of that animal, like
get animal superpowers, basically.
right? Yeah, like good at climbing or good at like smelling things. I don't know what animals can do.
No, they just got moody.
I would have been okay with that. Could you imagine? I mean, they started doing that with Hero Factory in 3.0, where they all ended up with armors that are more animalistic.
Yeah, but that was just armor.
Yeah, but you see my point. I think I would have been okay with, like, say, Vakama being more like a Muwaka and Nuju turning into a Gukko. That sort of thing. That would have been interesting.
That would have been cool.
Why did we not get that
We did
Hordika?
have the
We got
Rahi
Baraki.
guy that came out that year, so that's cool too.
Yeah, but it would have been interesting to have it as the heroes instead of the villains. I'm sorry. And no, those were all undersea characters. So, anyway.
Yeah, I think that was underdeveloped, but ultimately it did play into the traitor of that year of like, that was kind of their pressing thing of like, how do I undo this? And there were motivations involved that seemed good to kind of turn on people.
Very true.
Well, and so I mean, we're getting to the meat of the matter, you know. So we did have a traitor. Spoiler alert: it was Vakama who decides to turn his back on his brothers. Was that a good idea?
No.
I do like that. Sorry, I like that it was Vakama because up to now it's always like the Toa Fire is the leader. He's the one that always right and always going to be in charge. Now he's turning on everyone. I do like that.
Like nothing. It never felt like it was leading that way. Like in the books, because I mean, the hard part is that it's not. I never came to terms with this, and I still don't think I can. Of like, it's not one person running the story; it's multiple people. They're not gonna all have a united vision.
Right.
So, like in the books, it's like, oh well, we want to keep it a big secret, and like Nuju is so involved in like keeping it hidden. He like gets so angry at Vakama for wanting to like tell the story of Metronui, and I'm like, oh, it's obviously him. Like, obviously he's the evil traitor, and that's why he speaks like a bird. That's when he keeps it all secret. That's why he's got Matoro there as his like emotional support animal.
Yeah,
it all fits.
That's always been my vision. That's always been my vision. Is he just doesn't feel like he can talk to him on equal terms anymore, which is why he never does. It made sense.
And then it doesn't.
Well, I mean, I don't know. The problem I have with Nuju is like, yeah, and again, this kind of goes back to Spirit's failings of, you know, multiple people telling the same story. Is, you know, if you only say paid attention to the comics, basically the only frame of reference you have for Nuju is like the very first comic that ever came out, where he's not actually talking bird. So,
True.
You know, like, I mean, at least as a kid, like I didn't get that he was talking bird, and I didn't get why, and so I kind of just put that at the back of my head. And so whenever there was, you know, this cutesy little reference to him in the comics suddenly having this interest in birds, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, whatever. That has nothing to do with anything. Moving on.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of, at that point, kind of filled it in from the online game, and then it was weird. For me, the outlier was the first comic. It's like, why is he talking? But okay, retconned. He was translated by Matoro. We know.
But yeah, I would love to also go over the other characters, because we've only got 5 to work with. Well, 4 now if you count the fact we just covered Nuju.
Yeah, I think the difference between the Toa versus the Matoran is that we actually know their personalities, whereas the Matoran is like, this is a character. He's so important.
Yeah.
Prepare to not hear about him.
With Whenua, we saw that he was transforming pretty fast. We saw that in the book. It took a Bomonga like a long time just to try to calm him down when he was in the Field of Shadows.
Yeah, probably. I'm so bad at 2005.
Yeah, could we say he would have been the traitor? I don't think he ever would have turned traitor.
No, I mean, I don't think any of the Earth attribute characters ever get to do anything important, except for
do that because that's what friends do.
But like all the others, they never play a role.
No, Mavra is one that does, but still.
Mavra, he's not like sets.
Oh, okay, set form, yes, you're right. None of them would get to do the cool.
And even Mavra, he shows up in one book.
And then a serial, but that's beside the point.
Yeah, then he gets revived, and then we figure that out through him. No.
Onowa is probably the only other likely, besides the most obvious, to have turned.
Yeah, like I thought they were going somewhere with that, because I mean the Stone and Earth characters are always like relegated to the background. They never get anything.
This is true. And Onowa and Vakama had already been butting heads from the previous movie. This would have made a lot of sense to have them try to reconcile with Vakama trying to save his brother and trying to keep his team together through the harshest of times. That would have been a beautiful leadership moment.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, like part of the problem is that there's just too many characters to develop their personalities in the movies. Like there's just in Mask of Light, like you've got the 6 Toa, and Takua and Jala, and the Turaga. Like it's just too much to all show in one movie.
Yes.
So things get a little better when you move to just the 6 Toa, but even then, we're still not exploring all their personalities, all their interactions. Like in 2004, we get to see them because they split off into two groups. But in the Web of Shadows movie, like Onawa and Wanua don't do anything.
Yeah, nor does Nuju. I think we.
He's
I think
just
I did
a nerd. Like, I find the sounds of the night air fascinating. That's his catchphrase of the movie.
We know they had voice actors, but I don't know if they got paid for what they were doing. Like, they probably got overpaid, to be honest, for what they had to do.
What do? You sit around the office until you have lines. I have 3 lines. Yeah, just sit there.
Yeah. In fact, here, we'll just bring the microphone to you. Here you go. Say it. Cool. That's it. No second take? Nah, we didn't need it.
Nah, that's enough. We'll fix it in post.
And then they cut one of them off anyway.
I mean, it's just, I don't know. The whole issue I had with it is like, did you want somebody to turn, I guess, because of like plot reasons or because of character reasons? So, plenty of other, maybe a little bit of both. Like, I understand no, I mean, that's the thing. With Vakama, you're supposed to turn evil because of all the, the crap about his insecurities in the movie, but that's still more that previous knowledge. Like, him turning evil doesn't really make a lot of sense.
Yeah, or if the group had like split in two, where they've got like just 2 different ways of going about the situation, like it doesn't. I don't know, like the whole Metro Nui thing just kind of felt a little ham-fisted, like because you've also got Nokama, who is really probably the most competent leader out of all of them. She was a teacher, and she's always like trying to get them together, but she's like, "No, Vakama, it's your destiny to lead the Toa. Just do it yourself."
You can't have a girl lead. I mean, whatever.
She was the backbone.
And we'll get into that one in the next episode.
But I mean, you're right. Like, there wasn't a lot of character reasons for these things to happen. Again, it was mostly just because of the plots, and this speaks to a lot of problems I have with 2004 and 2005. Like, Vakama's insecurities don't really make sense. Failure as a lead, and they've known each other for all of 2 seconds.
Right. The other thing is, I mean, I would have loved to have had Nokama be the traitor, but it introduces a plot thread of, well, what would the motivations be for Rudaka to try to sway her? And more especially, how would the Toa have been able to, get her back over to their side?
Well, I mean, I could see it, Rudaka being like, oh, you're always overlooked because you're the only girl, and girl power. We got to stick together. We got to get rid of Sidorak and all your male Toa friends. Girls can rule the world with spiders.
Yeah, but then how would the Toa be able to recover her? It's like, but we need you. Am I going to be leader? Well, no. Pass.
Well, maybe they'll take her decisions more into account, because by the time we get to the events of Matsunui, she's like probably like one of the more influential Turaga.
This is very true.
So I could see that happening.
Well, and it is listed that she is the deputy leader of the Toa team.
Yeah, there you go.
So she already had the role, so it's not like they could sway her with, well, maybe you could be the leader.
I think that was kind of after the fact. That I don't think the writers of the movie were really taking into account, like, who's the second in command?
Well, the whole deputy thing doesn't come around until I guess like the Toa Enika, like.
That's true, because they had to
specifically declare a deputy because one of them was going to die.
Well, yeah. I mean, we never officially listed Motaro as the leader, even though figuratively
speaking, Jowler thought he was going to sacrifice him, and then he named Nuparu deputy.
Jowler just really likes doing
It's Huki.
Whatever. Who cares?
Huki was the deputy. Yeah.
Justice for Huki.
Justice for Maku.
I love it. All of the leaders of the Toa teams have always been fire, but the deputy is always somebody different. Here you have Nokama. Over there on the Toa Matsu Toa Nuva team, it's Kopaka. And then finally you get to Huki, and it's like, wow. So why can't one of them be the leader instead?
What they should have done was like base it on like who is the most prominent character in the marketing. Like if you didn't know anything about Bionicle and just were looking at the marketing of 2006, for instance, you would think that Nuparu is the head of the Toa Enika.
True.
Why would you think Nuparu? Wouldn't it be Motaro who's usually like front and center?
Hang on, let's look up pictures.
I feel like those kinds of things, like the promotional stuff. I could be wrong. I don't know how the sausage is made, but I feel like that stuff comes very late into this, and they already have a story planned out before like anyone's done rendering that stuff, or people say this one's gonna look.
Like the people who are making the images are like, yeah, put the white guy in front. I don't know what he's doing. Just put him in front.
Yeah,
I guess it is Matoro.
Yeah, Matoro is usually the one they showed in a lot of material from the pro posters to like the that All American Rejects trailer or whatever.
Right.
I guess Nuparu gets the electric guitar. That's his claim to fame.
Yeah, it's true. In the Free the Band poster, he's there. He's ready to go.
Oh yeah. In fact, I have one of the Free the Band patches, and he's on that.
Free the man.
Was the band ever free?
Just free them already. We haven't heard them since 2006. Actually, I'm pretty sure they've still had a pretty good career. I just didn't really pay attention to that music.
Nah.
Oh, I was thinking of Bionicle Heroes. That's
okay.
It used to be Nuparu on the cover, and then they
he was the prototype,
and then they turned
switched into Congo for some reason.
Well, because Congo's had nothing.
No, he has been another traitor, very relevant to what we're talking about. Definitely back on topic.
Oh yeah.
He betrays the Toa Metru in Legends of Metru Nui.
That's true. He betrayed them in that he was being threatened at claw point to turn off the
betrayal under duress is still betrayal.
It's a very selfish thing to do because, like, in doing that, like reversing the flow, he's like, it could cause the system to explode. Like, you know, people would die. Like, that's so bad,
right?
And then we're expected to believe he becomes a Toa. Mm-mm-mm.
But that does lead us to the last of the Toa Hordika traitor options, and this is the one a lot of people have been screaming for was Matau.
Oh, Greg thought it should be Matau.
I disagree. Like, I get that they're going through this whole, Matau versus Vakama thing, and there's like a little description in the Taraga's bios of like Matau and Vakama have like this little friendship going type. Am I imagining this?
I don't know.
I don't think you're imagining it.
Hang on.
I don't think so, but hang on. We have sources for this information.
I do know the one major friendship that they had among the Taraga was Nakama and Onawa seemed to have the easiest going based on the 2002 Rock animation. Yeah. Well, and Onawa's too busy bashing Hookie's head in.
Well, and I also love, because there's so much going on, having this friendship thing is really just like they have one interaction and the rest of the time everybody's doing their separate stuff.
Right.
Is there nothing about them being Taraga on the page? What is this?
They stood in the circle
Taraga for about right. They were Taraga for
all
of about 5 seconds.
Their set pages and read the set descriptions. Those are usually
I'm going to the Biomedia Project.
Oh snap!
Why are you doing that?
I'm taking
real traitor with spirit.
Well, we did already shout them out today, so
yeah,
he's just following my example.
Like past versions of the website?
Don't think so. Yeah, the set information for Taraga Matau says here. They didn't have the actual description of them. Jeez. Yeah, we don't have the what they had back on the catalog. I know that.
All right, back to the web archive. December 1st, 2002. We go to bio. Taraga.
I bet I have those old catalogs somewhere.
Loading.
If I find them.
Didn't work.
Fantastic. And when I was building our set database, I recently went and did all of the product descriptions for all of the
you're
sets,
right. So that would be under, is it the list of sets?
Whatever, just go to Vakama and click one of his set numbers.
I'm going to the actual page listed.
Come on.
Oh, jeez.
Spirit refuses to be wrong.
Okay, let's jump ahead.
Oh, yeah, here are the product descriptions. They're on this page here. But we don't have any of the Taraga. Oh, no, wait. Are these the... never mind. Those are the Kabaya, or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
The what? Oh, those things.
I still have
too
many requests. No, let me in. Stop it.
Which one were you looking for directly? I have all 6 here.
Vakama.
Okay. All it says here is, famous for his quick temper and great courage, Vakama is the protector of the legend of Tahu and is Taraga of the Village of Fire. That's all it says.
What?
Go to Matau then.
Both a brave warrior and a practical joker, Matau is the protector of the legend of Liwa. He is the Duraga of the village of Air and shares his knowledge of Matanoi's lore with Liwa.
That's the description.
Okay.
I mean,
well,
it even says right here, by the way.
I don't have a source to cite this information.
Uh,
Where did I read this?
All right, we'll come back to it.
Okay.
we can get back to it.
Keep doing this. I'll keep looking it up.
Yeah, it does say, by the way, Nuju may seem cold and uncaring, but it's actually one of the most generous Duraga. He tells his tale through gestures and whistles, which are interpreted by one of the Tahunga villagers.
That's an illegal term.
There you go.
Whoa.
Yeah,
You can't use the
we
T
kept
word.
it authentic.
You cannot use that word.
Nuju leads the village of ice and guards the legend of Kopaka. So none of them actually mention anything about the others in these descriptions, at least.
I mean, maybe it gets mentioned in a book. I'm not saying it's like wrong.
Maybe
but
in one of the comics. Maybe in the spread of the comics.
yeah, maybe.
It says he likes to play pranks on Nuju.
Where does it say that?
The Wikia.
Oh, jeez. Oh,
He's
boy.
gone even darker.
Oh, you
I'm
did it.
I am canceling this podcast now.
Okay, no. It's also on Bionicle Sector.
Okay.
As a Turaga, he still has the power over air, though decreased to a great extent. He continues to be known for his courage and humorous streak, and played pranks on Turaga Nuju for his own enjoyment.
Very good, very good.
Citation needed.
Wasn't he friends?
You're like, I will not be wrong.
Friends?
I read it somewhere. Oh well.
I'm looking at comic number 2 real fast because it does. Hold on. Nope, it's just talking about the masks. Dang it. All right.
Masks.
Comic 1. Coming of the Toa. That has the information, yes.
No, it doesn't have to. Y'all are crazy.
We are so hard railing this entire podcast just to find this one information.
Where were
you're the
we?
one who's
Why are
editing
you-
it.
Thankfully,
What
we have
were we looking up this information for?
I think we were just going over the Toa Hordika to see who would betray who, but we already know who it is. I don't think we need to consider every possible outcome because it was Fakama. Kind of neat that it was the Toa Fire for once. And yeah, that's kind of where that's all at. We went so far. Oh boy.
Yeah, we could just edit out the last 20 minutes.
What we do here
Right.
is go back. Honestly, if we don't mind not leaving Veterinary yet, I feel it needs to be pointed out that Rudaka betrays everyone all the time.
Yeah, I don't. That was just too confusing. Like, I get that Greg wants to have her in the story, but to make her like a quintuple agent, like that's just too much. Like, I can't keep track of that.
She's everybody's double agent.
Right. Oh, man. Rudaka is just such a weird character.
Which is like an interesting feed into 2006, where all of the Paraka just backstab each other constantly. It's like, they took the idea of there being a traitor and they just took that up to 11.
One of them is a traitor. Spoiler alert, it's all of them.
Also, by the way, I'm pulling up comic number 3 real fast. One of the last pages on the ads. Collect the ultimate Kanohi. Includes gold mask, the infected mask, copper mask of victory, and the Kanohi Vahi. Look for this awesome Kanohi in the Bionicle PC game this December.
Oh.
Womp womp.
Oh.
Interesting enough, they also used the prototype version on this image.
Oh, yeah? What is that?
Yeah, it's a little different. I'll post a photo in the video.
Yeah.
I think I was reading Reddit, and like somebody who was claiming to be one of the original designers of Bionicle the game posted his like one of the files of the original Vahi, the more circular one. It was interesting.
It's interesting. I'm going to take a wild guess and say that was probably part of the April Fool's prank, but it's a really good render of one. Anyway.
Yeah, who knows?
2006, yeah, there's only really one traitor, and that's the Paraka, period, stop.
Yeah.
Just saying the Paraka.
But then you also have Vezon.
Well, yeah, Vezon betrays them all by just running away immediately to Voyanui with the knowledge. And then
they all betrayed him first, though. Let's be real.
He's such a weird character, though. Like just like taking a step back from everything we know, like what?
He
What
was
is
just
he?
kind of like immaculately formed out of Vazon somehow. Not Vazon, what's the other one? Vazok?
Bezok.
Yep.
Oh man, it's still confusing.
Yeah. Oh,
Like,
I know.
That's just so confusing and like it's so weird. Like, what a weird thing to do. And like
It's a strange reason for there to be a 7. Like, you couldn't have just had a 7th one that betrayed them. You couldn't have just had a traitor. No, he had to be split off from one of the original 6.
I feel like he had to be written in because later on they were like, we want an extra set. And it was like, oh, okay.
Well, but sort of, right? Because like when they were doing that, there's this note, and this also comes up in the Dark Hunter book about how, the Shadowed One considered Vazon a Dark Hunter at first, even though he had never heard of him until this betrayal, because he expected Vazon to bring him the Mask of Life.
I think TSO just thinks everyone's a Dark Hunter. He just promotes people they don't know it yet.
What's also interesting is he's also the only Skakdi in existence without a spine slug.
Oh, I forgot those are supposed to be parasites. Oh, gee.
Are they? Back up here. Hang on. What? Are
spine
they?
slugs.
Yeah, I know spine slugs. I thought it was like
spine slugs are different. They have spines, but they also have spine slugs, which don't have an appearance. No image.
Right.
The
The spine slug is also kind of what gives them the ability to use their elements when
Wait, is it?
paired together.
No.
Sort of.
No.
Well,
Citation
TLDR,
needed.
they had
Okay,
two
here I am on
women
the
at that
spine
point.
slug. The spine slug page. They're parasitical, harmless to the Skakdi victims. Spine slugs latch onto the spines of a Skakdi, therefore are not the spines themselves, and seem to be nourished by the Skakdi's battle rage. Some believe the slugs feed on rage, causing the Skakdi to continue fighting and providing more nourishment. That's all they do. They
Okay.
absorb-
Well,
so they're
then-
related to Tobe Duck. Interesting.
I posted that meme right here. Awesome.
Nice.
Also,
got it.
totally found what I was talking about. Might not be an official source though.
Ooh,
this was
I think I had that.
Probably the encyclopedia then.
It's the Legend of Matanui storybook.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's a manual. Look at the staples.
Yeah, so it's like semi-canon that Vakama is friends.
Oh, then
with
this must have
Murtaugh.
been maybe the quest for the Masks card game, maybe?
Yeah, and why isn't this on the wiki? Get to it, guys.
Yes,
did
famous
anyone
for
get
his
a
quick
hold of
temper. He's great friends with Matau, Tarogov Air, and said that they sit together telling stories.
So, anyways, wait. This is a manual from one of the card games.
Yes.
It says Legend of Matanui booklet.
Well,
Oh no, that's a total lie. The title is misleading. Well, why would you give it a misleading title? Part of the contents of a theme decks for the old Quest for the Masks trading.
Okay, all right. So it is.
Then yes.
It is from the Mask. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I mean, we'll just add it. We have the citation. There you go.
Remember
Settle
when
down.
everything had a trading card game?
I've actually played that game online through Tabletop Sim. I've been sitting down with some of the guys from Beaver House / BMP and all that. We actually recreated the game and made a new map based on the entirety of the island instead of just the half and half that they had.
But
very interesting. I
20
managed to
minutes
balance
weren't
it.
wasted. Spirit was technically right.
There you
We
go.
did it.
I
Technically
guess I'm not
correct.
cutting it out.
Successfully did not waste
The
time.
best kind of correct.
Anyway, but let's dive into the last bit of Traitor anyway. 2007. This is where the last official quote unquote Traitor. No, there is one more after that.
There's plenty more.
There is one more
There's
after
more
that.
traitors, but like this is the last time it becomes, or where it's sort of presented as a plot point to start with, right?
No, there is one. Well,
2009.
2009 also has one.
Oh,
But they
yeah,
didn't present it at the beginning. 2007, though, that's where we were given. And what's more interesting is we have a traitor on the other side of the coin now. So
Yeah.
one of the
But, like,
Baraki betrayed them
But
all.
he's also not like a good character. He's just like
Well,
differently
they're
bad.
not all good characters. That's
No,
I
but
mean,
like a traitor, a good guy traitor is bad. But you would think a bad guy traitor would be good. But in this case, it's a bad guy traitor who's just differently bad.
at the end of the day, I mean, they were all legendary kings and all that stuff. But at the same time, you could have just called them all mercenaries. It would have made more sense.
I like
Just
the
saying.
idea. They just never did anything with it.
Yeah, well, because they get these armies of like different undersea creatures, and I'm like, okay, are we trying to do 2005 properly now? No, because that
Right.
never plays into it, and it doesn't make sense that they would have armies of sea creatures. How do you get an army of sharks if you
By being the alpha shark.
but and then the fact that they mutate because of the radiation from the core of the universe, which is never explained.
Nope.
It's just
Have
radiation,
you
man.
seen the
It's
core of the universe, Spirit? I'm sure you would be radiated too.
magnets.
Yes.
How do they work?
In 2008, they go there and no one mutates.
Was when you're
Yeah,
close
no,
enough, it doesn't matter anymore. You're past
Well, I
the
guess the
event horizon.
Makuta mutated
That's
to
not
Buck.
true. Exactly. The Makuta mutate, but that was because of the mutated water from the year before having
They
fallen
fell
in
into silly water. It was the water the whole time.
I don't know. Like
Oh my
that could be
gosh.
another thing we
Just
talk
don't
about.
drink the dirty water.
Is the transformations, mutations. That's a recurring theme because
Oh yeah, no. Transformations is definitely a topic for another time.
Yes,
such a headache.
because we can go after so many different transformations
But
altogether.
going back to the traitor, like I don't know, I was whelmed, I guess. Like I don't know, I didn't really see the point in revealing a traitor. Kind of the same as 2005, but like what was the point of having one of the Baraki betray them if A, we're not scrambling to figure it out for whatever reason, and B, why do we care?
Well,
I guess
go ahead.
I'm not sure where I was going with that. I guess
Yeah,
I guess
we're
the
both doing
problem
the same thing.
the problem of 2007 is like in 2006 they have a very clear story path of the Toa Nuva, our heroes from many years ago, go on a quest and they fail. The Paraka, they're running around for 6 months. Then we introduce the Toa and Nika who beat them up and save the day. That's how you can have that progression of first the Paraka come out, then we get the Nika. In 2007, you've got a really vamp for time of having the Baraki doing stuff underwater and having it mean anything until the Toa Mari show up in the summer. So I can see Greg coming up with like little plot lines of like, and then I don't know, Karzani appears. Yeah, sure.
He looks different now.
Don't
Right.
ask why.
Well, and I kind of like that. I mean, yeah, the first half of 2007, basically nothing happens, but that's also because they were trying to relaunch or trying to launch BIONICLEstory.com, which then, takes over the whole story delivery.
Very true. More to the point, I'll tell you the best thing that came out of the early part of 2007. Creeping into my soul.
Yes.
I remember
That's all the
liking
whole
that
time.
as a
Good song.
teenager.
The only good song they have.
Wow, that's a hot take.
Just
Well,
say we're
Dorek,
dishing truths
I
here.
think you- I
we are
think
dishing
you-
truths here. It is the only good song they have.
Dorek, I think you might have suppressed the rap portion of that song.
Yeah.
Sorry, no, I have not. I absolutely love everything.
Yeah,
every
okay,
other song.
that's fine.
But yeah, as a moody teenager, that's sometimes, it's like a cloudy day out, you're like, you know what, I'm just gonna lock myself in my
I'm
room,
down for some.
turn off
I'm down for
lights.
some.
Well, and like
Let's
the
feel
previous,
depressed.
right? Sure, but the previous, attempt to get a song to connect emotionally with you was "Move Along."
I ain't moving
Yeah.
along.
I
I'm
mean,
gonna be creeping in my soul. That's what I'm gonna be doing.
Well, like it's unapologetic.
I'm just gonna
right?
crash
Like, it doesn't-
into you.
it
That's what
doesn't
I'm gonna do.
care. It doesn't care what it is. It wears its heart on its sleeve. I don't know. I love it.
Actually,
It's
no,
fun.
that'll be a very interesting subject of just the Bionicle music in general.
Yes, invite me to that one.
Would you prefer to be the United States with Crash, or would you prefer the international with Face Me?
Oh no, Face Me was so much better.
Wow.
Let's do a whole thing on that. I want to go deep dive.
Okay.
I have opinions, so yeah, we can just save that for another time.
I'm trying to remember the name of the song from 2008, the later
Gravity
one,
Hurts.
not Gravity Hurts, the other one.
Closer to the truth.
Thank you. That's what I'm thinking
Oh
of.
man,
That was a much better song than Creep Into My Soul. I'm sorry.
I gotta go back.
Okay, it's not true.
All right, it's another time.
Another time.
Okay. But yeah, like I feel like the whole traitor Baraki thing, like who cares? Like it doesn't mean anything. Like,
no,
oh,
and it
well-
ultimately doesn't mean anything in the end either. Oh, joy. So one of them betrayed the others. Good job.
Like I had
Literally
to look up
nothing.
who it was prior to this podcast because I did not remember. Like it
It was
made
Taka.
sense.
Karapar. I don't
Just
remember.
a blip on the radar. And then
Could you imagine if it was Mantax just trying to get the others to fight each other and then he sneaks away with it? That would have been such a twist.
I feel like I could have enjoyed it more if it weren't for the fact that in the previous year you had all that. Like I appreciate they're trying to take a step back and focus it a little more, but the previous year you just had the bad guys stabbing each other in the back every 5 seconds, and so it burned me out on it.
yeah, it's definitely more of the same, which I get because I guess those are the first. Like 2006 is the first year where we have canister villains that are not a swarm. Is that,
Right,
is
individuals.
that
yeah.
accurate?
Yes. I actually
Yes.
thought they were like individual representations of swarms because that was the concept. And I was like, huh.
Yeah, they are officially the first canister series that had 6 individual species, as compared to say 2006, where the Baraka, even though they're not a swarm, they are part of the same species.
They're all the same almost entirely. It's just different colors and different heads.
Yeah, I will give that to the Baraki. Of like, here's an anti-roast, I guess a toast of like those are some good set designs. Like they
Oh,
look
absolutely.
like
Oh, I
awesome
love them
creatures.
still.
They're all very unique builds.
I
you've got-
also, I'm going to say this legitimately. I loved their canisters. It's so alien
I mean,
in
the
design.
upside
compared to what
down
we've had.
ones, like weird
Yeah.
sideways stuff. Like
I still
it
have them.
bothers me
They're
that you
cool.
like can't, stack them or like, they
That
don't
is the
they
only
don't store
drawback.
well.
They don't store very well, but they are so beautiful. I'm sorry.
No,
Well,
absolutely.
You should be.
the
I mean, obviously the Borak canisters are still going to be the top of the line for me.
oh, that's true. But like, okay, this is not the canister roast, but I gotta say
No.
this. The Toamari ones, absolutely the worst.
Oh,
Absolutely.
no.
They
Yeah,
weren't even
no.
canisters.
No.
They were this weird plastic frame.
Plastic with a
some button
frame, and you could
thing.
attach the gun to it,
Ugh.
or 2 guns if you were Kongu.
Nah.
And,
Nah, dog.
No,
I threw
Okay.
those away almost immediately.
I still have them just in case.
Oh, I definitely have them.
Oh, I
Just
threw
in
away the
case.
plastic. I kept the
Wait,
the
do you
actual
think
frame, but I
they'll
threw
become
away the.
valuable in this post-apocalyptic?
I'm saving the
society?
planet by not throwing out my canisters.
Oh,
could
I
happen. You
I have
never
other
know.
things I'm going to sell first. I've got a Peabody and Atlas Portal 2 pop figures. I can always sell them first. That'll still
Yeah,
only give me
I know.
$50, but still.
You can't sell anything in the apocalypse. You can only barter for toilet paper.
Oh, I've got
Imagine a world
32
where the
calories.
economy is just
I'm
Funko
safe.
Pops.
How many widgets is a roll of toilet paper? That's all we got to know.
Yeah, we'll figure that out.
Well, we could figure this out, like because like paper is in the game. No, you got to turn flax into sales. I don't know.
Right.
Someone do the math on this.
I'm just going to rig and just farm flax all day.
There's only one piece of paper in the entire Matoran universe, and it's currently in the possession of the Toa Nuva at this point in the story.
Yeah, that was weird.
That was also weird. Like, yeah, I feel like it was just written as paper, and then Greg was like, "Oh yeah, there's no paper. It's special."
It goes back to something else. They finally introduced a wheel in the Matoran universe, and they said it was Avok that made it. That's how they introduced the Destral cycle.
But Umbra had wheels.
Like,
Yeah,
yeah, but still.
and there are carts in the Matanui online game that have wheels. So
yeah,
Umbra just riding into the
Avok made a wheel. Avok made the wheel.
Umbra's like
use
"This
legs."
thing is old and they-"
okay, we've gotten off topic here though.
Yeah.
What was the
Baraki
topic
Trader.
again?
Baraki Trader was dumb.
True.
I hated that. That was
Does that tell you everything you need to know about how bad the Baraki Trader was?
Yeah, we don't even care.
Basically.
It didn't
Well,
mean
and
anything.
like they have the reveal. I mean, I actually remember the reveal, so maybe this is a point to their credit. I remember, Mantax finds out that it was Takadox, and then Takadox stabs him with a stone dagger. I don't know why not his other regular daggers, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
Or his
But,
own claws.
yeah, exactly. But I guess I was more dumbfounded than anything else. I was like, why? Why did you expect me to care about this? Like, I feel nothing right now. That is, I have the memory
what if
of
you
feeling
betrayed
nothing.
us? It's like, okay,
Mhm.
well, we betrayed you. Sorry.
Yeah, and it was like thousands of years ago, like 80,000 years ago. Like
Something
it
like that.
doesn't matter.
No.
And
you
they're
took out
already in
man
jail
tax.
anyway.
No one cared about man tax.
And it's not like
That
they're
is
going to be.
absolutely. That is going to be a topic. We're going to have to talk about the timeline itself, like the actual timeline itself.
Yeah, like it just felt like such an inconsequential reveal. I agree entirely. Like I felt nothing learning that.
Because I want to go over basically the notes of just the random stuff that Greg used to fill in the timeline. And I'm like, do we really need this? Like Kanohi Dragon, for example?
Yes.
Kanohi Dragon, maybe. But do we
for
really
another
need...
time. All right. So 2007, had a traitor, done. 2008, nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah, no traitors.
Nope, moving on.
Like the traitors are like front and center of like the Shadow Matoran, but it's not like a
but
mystery.
They're infected. It's no different.
Yeah, this is infected, not a secret traitor. It's a different trope.
The only one that's like a legitimate traitor, like I really wanted to do this, was probably Voltraz, and even then.
Yeah, but if you're all like, I'm just gonna do it, it's not like you're secret backstabbing. You're just out there.
I mean, which is
all...
kind of why I have an issue with like Vakama being called a traitor. Like, is it corruption? Is it because he was being bullied? Like, I get that it's a combination of both of these things, but it sort of muddles the point that you're going for.
Because he couldn't stop the animal.
It was a manipulation. It was a manipulation, but at the same time, he did still have his faculties. He was still very conscious about everything. In fact, in the book, if you ever read the book, he said, okay, fine, I'll play along with this and I'll stab her in the back and this will be good for the Toa. And then eventually he just started looking around. It's like, wait, I'm in control here. I could do all this myself. I don't need the Toa.
I've made a huge mistake.
Eventually he's like, yeah, I don't want to work with the Toa anymore. And then finally when talking with Matau, he started slowly going, oh, wait, I was doing this for them. What's going on with me?
Let's be real, guys. The actual reason he became evil was because of those Rakshi boobs. That was the reason. No other reason.
Of course.
And thank you, Spirit, for making sure we don't have to mark this safe for children.
Excellent.
Yep. Nope. COPA need not apply.
Anyway, yeah, 2009. That's when we finally have the last official.
Hold on, I've got one more thing to say about 2005. In that, like some of the promotional images show like Rudaka, corrupting Vakama, but like there's also this evil green mist coming from her mouth, and aside from the fact that it's sexy as hell, like it doesn't.
Right.
It doesn't it doesn't help the idea that, is he being like actually corrupted by her? Is it just supposed to be, I guess, a representation of her?
It's you, a girl that breathes green mist into your face.
I forgot that there was another traitor in 2006.
Of course there was.
Brutaka.
Oh.
But that goes back into manipulated because he was being, fed the anadermis, and it's like,
is that why he went evil?
Yeah, that's when he went evil.
He's not a traitor, more like a junkie.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, because like he went evil before. I don't know.
Well,
I feel like everyone's response of groan just speaks for itself.
Yeah,
Brutaka was such a great set, and as a character,
just a whimper.
I mean, it's not necessarily a character. Like, it's what happens to him. It's not necessarily like the decisions he makes. It's all the stuff that happens to him.
I think he redeems himself with 2007, and then 2008 he had a better, or not 2009 when he's in like Reign of Shadows. He had a much better character during that serial.
No, he doesn't. That's when he falls into the pit.
When he falls into the,
and then he gets a better character.
No, when he falls into like the weird antidermis, it's not antidermis, like the Makuta juice. He just gets really weird, and they never explain it, and that's very frustrating as a reader.
I think it's intended to be like this is the pure form of the antidermis that stuff like Miserix was able to use. Anyway, we're getting off on a tangent.
Anyway, we talked about that before.
Oh, there's the you're getting off topic alarm.
All right, we better wrap this up. So we'll finish this off with 2009.
2009. Where was it first that there was a traitor in 2009? I clearly don't remember any of this.
I think they didn't really say it out loud. They just kind of introduced the concept during one of the books.
No, it was one of the serials. It was during Empire of the Scroll where Tuma mentions he's getting
meeting with an Agori. Yeah.
That's the mighty Tuma. Get it right.
I am the mighty Tuma.
Well, this is the movie, the only movie that Greg wrote himself. And I don't know like if he wrote like the actual script or just like, here's the premise, fill in the dialogue for yourself. But like he wrote that. So it was his idea to have this traitor character. I wonder where he got that idea. But to have this secret traitor that they had to figure out, and then that would be the main enemy.
Except then they do the worst possible thing by introducing this character so far in the beginning, and it's like, okay, you're definitely the evil one.
Well,
am I wrong?
Hang on, I'm trying to think, like the timeline of things of when things were revealed, because what I thought was really interesting. This is like the most obscure thing you could ever know about anything, is that if we jump back in our minds 11 years ago to 2009, this is when Lego was premiering My Lego Network. Did you guys ever?
Yeah, the game where you were the hero and you went around crafting a bunch of stuff.
Yes,
and
so much grinding and crafting and daily quests.
I
got to the end of it, and I don't know why I did that.
I remember this,
I got
but
just to the end, and then I couldn't like trade something with somebody, and I was like, nah, forget it. I'm out.
I was in this group of like 4 people, and we would check in daily of like, okay, here's the plan. You got to focus on this. You got to get me. I need 20 of these red bricks, and I need them today. And I'll trade you 5 blues, but I need my reds, and I need them now. Give me some
the world first clan
some
on
jars.
My Lego Network.
And this is the first official Animal Crossing New Horizons.
Yeah. Anyway, so
Jeez.
they introduce, it's not its own level, because why would Bionicle get its own level? Bionicle gets its own side quest, which you can complete for like an avatar or something. I don't know. Anyway,
Weird.
in this very obscure part of the internet, you could befriend, quote unquote, Metis. That's his name, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, spoiler alert, Metis is the traitor.
Yeah. Who is friends with the Skrull and the evil character.
That's right.
So they spoiled it before the movie came out, or was this
No,
after?
no, this is after the movie came out. But like,
Okay, I
guess
was
it's like
wow.
presuming
Was this after the movie came out? Because the movie came out in like September or something. I thought
September 15th,
and I thought
2009.
this was, like
Right,
spring-ish.
Like, trust me, I remember exactly when that day was, because I was born that day. Thank you. Just not that year.
Happy birthday, Swert.
Thank you. I ended up getting Michael Dorn as literally God. I ain't even mad.
Yeah, that's pretty good birthday
Hold
present.
on,
No,
My
'cause,
Lego
like,
Network.
it
And,
definitely-
early 2009. So this game came out before. So they had that hint buried in there.
No, but the Bionicle component, I feel like it came out after.
I think it came out like during the summer, because that's when I remember it really ramped up.
I don't recall. I was definitely doing it in the fall of that year. Like I was still working on completing the game, so I can't.
It's possible.
Our timelines are also getting weird.
But yeah, I thought that was an interesting way of teasing that information. Yeah, I think my problem with that, not the fact that we've had a million secret traitors, but the fact that it didn't make sense. Like, what was he betraying them about? Like passing information?
Yeah, I mean, he was selling out all of society, I guess, which is kind of cool. It was big.
But like how? Like what was he telling them? Like, hey, just so you know, we're in this village, and
Well, I think it was. So I guess we first heard that, like, you know, the Skrull are raiding all of these different trade routes, and you know, we don't know why, but they're becoming more and more aggressive.
right. But like it's not like in the movie, just in the context of the movie, it's like, there's a traitor. He's been telling our enemy all our secrets. What secrets did they have?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, in the context of the movie, it doesn't make any sense.
They kept all the secrets, but even they didn't know about the big robot.
Well, and if you remember, the whole reason the Skrull were doing what they were doing in the first place, according to the serials, was there's an even greater threat up north, and they're just like, we need to go down further south and be better prepared for it. It's like, or you could just, not be conquerors and talk to people.
Overall, I think the serials were a mistake in 2009. Like,
Yeah.
they try to explain so much that doesn't get explained in the movie that it's like, why just put it in the movie?
Yeah, no, like, why was Tuma's back injured? Like, you could have done anything. You could have somehow squeezed that into the movie.
Of like, oh yes, this is the mighty Tuma. He injured his back fighting a Zesk.
All
Yeah.
bad guys have a
Or
weakness.
shown it earlier in the
That's
movie,
all you
or
need.
like maybe Matanui like somehow manages to injure him or something, and then
Yeah,
as opposed to
exactly.
just smacking him with a shield a couple of times.
Or how about maybe just having Matanui headbutt him and the mask would, turn whatever is on
Sure,
his
yeah,
back
like he's got
into
his own
something.
superpowers or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
Or like even the fact that the whole Metis controlling the scrawl of like there's this whole serial about how he makes this deal with Tuma, and Tuma's like, yeah, sure, if I die, you can take over. Like what? Obviously, they're not going to do that. Like, oh, hang on. I remember this. There was this contract between our old boss and this guy. I guess we'll listen to him because why not?
If I were a Skrull, I would turn around and look at Stronius and be like, we're going to listen to you now, okay?
yeah,
okay.
like coming explicitly from a society that values like strength above all else. Like, yeah, no, it doesn't make any sense.
Like, literally every single one of the Skrull would be able to pick up Metis from the neck and be like, puny thing, toss it away, and then go conquer the entirety of the planet. Literally, they did. I think Tuma was holding him back, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, I guess here's the other question of like who would have been a good alternate traitor, but I think you kind of like really pointed out the fact that Metis shows up at the beginning. He's not really involved in the story, and like he is just like the classic. This is who you make the traitor. It's the person you medium suspect.
Can I tell you what I was always thinking whenever I saw him on the screen at the very beginning of the movie? He is your sleazy car salesman, and I mean sleazy as a descriptive term. He literally just makes me feel like you are trying to sell me a car, and I don't like it.
Yeah, like he shows up and immediately, I don't like this guy. I bet he's a bad guy.
Yeah.
Oh, I was right.
Yeah.
Which I mean, like kind of makes it a good reveal. Like you're like, oh wow, this guy was a traitor. They had so many other problems going on. But then there's also a traitor. Man, what a great plot twist. Until you think about it, you're like, there was no reason for it. There was nothing in the movie that said there needed to be a traitor for anything.
Yeah, if anything, it's not even a plot twist. It's more like, yeah, the guy who's just annoying turned out to be a bad guy. Yeah, there you go.
I mean, it would have made a lot of sense if it turned out he discovered that underground cavern thing with all the elements, and it's like, we're come to take it over. That would have made a lot more sense.
So much watching this of like, oh my goodness, it's something that the great beings made. We got secret great being stuff. We're going to figure out the origins of everything, and we learned nothing.
Not a thing.
What did we learn?
In the serial, all they did is they went and found a cube in a maze, and then they made a robot.
It's a magic battery.
Can we all just be grateful that we at least got Michael Dorn doing the audio podcast on the ending?
Oh,
that was the good thing.
Yeah.
Like that's the confusing thing about Bionicle is that there's so much you can like rant and rave about, but then it'll do things like, oh yeah, we got this amazing actor to not only star in our movie, but also to just do some narration for a web thing that won't even show up on the DVD.
Nope.
By the way, I followed up. I checked Cameo. Michael Dorn is not on there. Boy, I wish he was. I would just ask him to just say lines from Bionicle. It'd be hilarious.
You mean he's not on there yet?
Hey, no. See, yeah, seriously, Michael, get on it.
I mean, with coronavirus, you can't really get many acting jobs. Just saying.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, Cameo is not affected. Fiverr is not affected.
No. I would also love to have been able to have some of the other Star Trek alums be on Bionicle, but at least we got Michael Dorn. Good voice.
He's a good one.
That would be a whole different discussion. Is I would love to see who could we have replaced voice casting with for the Bionicle movies.
I mean, I'm always wondering about that. Like, I like Michael Dorn. I feel like that's a nice kind of non-obvious choice. Like, he's not a super huge celebrity, but he's, relatively famous and well-known. You'd be like, oh, wait, I do actually recognize that guy, but also just a good voice actor because he's got a really good voice.
The ones that people in core fandoms recognize as, oh, I like that person in that thing. That's usually the level that is good for that sort of thing.
But then you have like Jim Cummings, and like I'm not gonna say he's like, obviously the guy does very, very good job. Like it's so obvious.
He just does everything.
He does.
Well, that's because he's in everything.
And then, of course, Hero Factory ended up getting Mark Hamill to be a villain, and it's like, well, great.
For 2 seconds.
Yeah, well.
That was all that was in the budget.
Okay, so something I just realized is that when we look at Bionicle Generation 2, there are no secret traitors.
This is true.
No, because
there's barely any character motivation.
There's barely any story.
But like they keep the mind control.
Yeah,
that's still a thing.
Yep.
But no Secret Traitor. It's not Bionicle without mind control and Secret Traitors, I gotta say.
Maybe in the third year, we would have had robot dinosaurs and a secret traitor amongst the robot dinosaurs. That would have solved everything.
I would not mind a secret traitor robot dinosaur. I feel like that would be great. Who was it? It was the T-Rex. No one was surprised.
We should probably wrap this up.
Yeah.
Oh, we're having fun.
We're having a lot of fun, but if we
exhausted
keep
our-
going, I'm going to rant because Boda Magna would have been one of the greatest years in history of Bionicle.
It's okay. It's gone forever. Never happened. Will never happen. It's time
Gen
to
3.
move on.
Cold open. Robot dinosaurs.
It's just having like a bait and swap. It's just like a sets of like dinosaurs and nobody knows what it is. But then like a year later, they reveal it's Bionicle the whole time.
Somebody go talk to Faber.
Faber, stop baiting people.
Faber, stop whatever it is you're doing and forget all this nonsense. I will tell you what the people really want: robot dinosaurs.
It's all we've ever wanted.
I'm
honestly.
all for it. I'm
You're right.
sorry.
It
If
is
you
all we've
think
ever
about
wanted.
it, 2001 Rahi, they're kind of like dinosaurs in a way.
Yeah,
But that's the thing, too.
Tarakaba.
Like, you know, I can't tell you 2010 or, you know, like Botomag. I can't tell you that would have been great. But like, you know, we know we wanted robot dinosaurs because of the very first year where we almost had robot dinosaurs.
Oh,
Very true.
I guess it wouldn't have been 2010. It would have been 2011.
Yeah.
2011
Well,
would have had
Yeah, so
10 year.
Because
no,
2000
it would have been 2010 because they knew it had been canceled. So 2010 was kind of like a makeshift year. They're like, oh, we've been canceled. What do we do?
no, but
Wrap it up, boys.
the reveal of the robot dinosaurs was in the treatment of the 2010 movie,
Right. And so
which they show up at the end
yes.
as like the preview for the next year.
Oh, right. So the robot dinosaurs themselves, yes, would have been 2011. You're right.
Yeah.
And to that point, like the 2010 storyline would have been garbage. Like that movie nothing happens.
There might have been a reason it was failing.
Mm,
Which
Like,
makes me
anyway,
wonder, like, when we were going to
we're
get our
going down
robot
the wrong
fight to
path,
start
people.
with. But
we're
whatever.
going down
I
the
think
wrong
we're.
path.
I think we've exhausted the subject of traders. I think we've gone through all the ones that matter.
Yeah. I mean, there are other traders, but it doesn't.
Those
It's
are the
all
ones that
blah.
that definitely stand out. I mean, those are the ones that stand out.
I
Those are the
mean,
ones that were like, eh.
The real traders were the people who didn't buy the sets.
The
It's
real
true.
traders were the friends we made along the way.
Yep. We betrayed ourselves. And here we are.
Hey,
10
I bought the sets. I was not a trader.
I bought the sets in 2015, and I bought the sets in 2016. And
Okay, I didn't buy the sets then because they got sent.
The last Bionicle product
they kept
I
sending them to
purchased,
you.
I purchased
They
for
send
my
you
money was the Journey to One. No, hang on, that's not the movie. The Legend Reborn DVD. Prior to that, I had not purchased a Bionicle set since 2007. So it's all my fault, guys. It's
Spirit was the
Spirit.
secret trader.
You
All
are
right.
the
the
traitor.
secret trader. I didn't buy anything in 2008. It's all my fault.
How dare you?
And on that terrible disappointment, we're going to end. So, thanks for everybody for listening. Feel free to follow us on social. Feel free to send us an email if you have any questions or comments for the show. If you have any suggestions for what we could do as a future topic, I mean, we've still got plenty of pent up rage. You know,
We just need to
we
Nothing
focus
but
it.
time on our hands.
yeah, we literally have too much time on our hands right now. I'm thinking about painting a house. That's how much bored I am right now. So,
So please
with
keep
that,
him from puffing paint fumes.
hey. So with that, yeah, I guess that's it. Thank you very much. This has been Swert.
This has been Chols.
This has been Dorek.
And the secret trader Spirit.
Get him out of here.
And-
Get him out of here.
And on the next episode, Spirit may or may not be back. We will
Uh-oh.
find out.
Well,
Stay
it's always
tuned.
in the air. Yep.
All
That was
right.
a threat.
I'll come back as a snake.
Yes.
Continuity. Let's go.
Oh, you're gonna have to change your avatar to be like a Krokon with a snake body. That's gonna have to work. All right. Bye.
Good night.